as the Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17. And I picked the Lions in this one. I don't recall who you picked in this one, but this seemed like a bit of an upset for me. And I didn't think if you told me a year ago or 2 years ago that I'd be saying the Chiefs beating the Lions is an upset, I would have said, "What are you smoking, Shaun?" But this is the world that we're living in now, as the Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17 in Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. And the biggest storyline coming from this game is the fact that Brian Branch, after the game, he refused to shake hands with Patrick Mahomes, and then he went directly for Juju Smith-Schuster and tried to scrap it out, and then you get a whole melee, and luckily it wasn't anything worse. But the Chiefs ultimately win this game 30-17. A lot of people are saying the Chiefs are back. What's your take on this, Kaz?
So I did pick the Chiefs to win, and I didn't do it because of just like, vibes. I did it because I'm like, the last few weeks of me doing my NFL predictions, I said that one of these two teams are going to figure it out. I was like, there's no way that two Super Bowl, contenders are just going to not be a force in NFL. And that was the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought it was going to be the Ravens. I was obviously wrong. And so when it came into this week, I was like, the Chiefs are at home. The Chiefs, they had a must-win game against Jacksonville. Okay, they lost. And I said on my predictions, I said they have to win this game because I think the Ravens played somebody, they got their ass kicked. They were going to get their ass kicked. Can't remember who they played, but I was like, the Ravens are not going to win. They're still without Lamar Jackson. They need Lamar back. That's just case in point right there. Don't need to talk about that. But I'm like, are we going to sit there and look at the Ravens and Chiefs have to win like 8 games straight in order to make the playoffs? I don't believe that's a real thing. Which team do I feel is more poised right now from the coaching staff down to the worst player on the team? And when you look at it, you look at the Ravens, and I get those 2011, I think it was, Philadelphia Eagles vibes, the dream team, where we went out and got Namni Asamoah, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, and we had what's his name? We had Vic, and we had Vince Young at backup, and we had LaShady McCoy. We had all these guys, and we ended up
super team,
dude, terrible. Super team, as Vince Young said, terrible season. And so I'm looking at the Raiders, or not the Ravens, the Ravens right now, and I'm like, as much as I'm kind of low-key rooting for the Ravens because I like Lamar Jackson, I like Derrick Henry, I like a lot of their players, I really do. I'm like, maybe it's just one of those things where they got the personnel, they got the names on the back of the jerseys, but there's no chemistry there. Nothing's clicking there. The play calling's bad. Harbaugh, you got Ravens fans talking about how they don't want Harbaugh there anymore, and I've heard that for the last couple of years, even though they've had successful seasons. Then I look at the Chiefs. I'm like, Mahomes getting paid $500 million, brother, to be there for 13 years. You got Andy Reid. They've already won multiple Super Bowls. Been to multiple Super Bowls. Just lost a Super Bowl. They don't have Rashee Rice. They got to make Hollywood Brown a guy. Travis Kelce is another year older, and the only thing he's worried about is Taylor Swift. What's going on in Kansas City? Are they going to make Patrick Mahomes look like an overrated, overappreciated NFL quarterback when just a year ago he was being compared to the greatest of all time, Tom Brady? And I'm like, no, here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is truly doing it with less right now. I can't say the same for the Ravens. Even though the Ravens did lose Lamar Jackson, the fact that you got a guy like Cooper Rush, who just a few years ago, I'm not sure if you remember this, there were plenty of Dallas fans loving the fact that Cooper Rush was winning games. When Dak Prescott broke his ankle, I think it was his ankle or his other. He had 2 injuries in the last 4 years. The bad ankle injury is where he snapped his ankle, and then he had the finger injury. I think it was one of those years. I think it was the finger one. You had Cooper Rush in there, and Twitter was filled with Cooper Rush this and Cooper Rush that. It was a bunch of Eagle shit where it's like, are we sure that Dak Prescott's the guy? Because he was winning games. So I'm like, I know Cooper Rush can win games. I know Cooper Rush is a very solid backup quarterback. And you got to think about what a backup quarterback is. A backup quarterback is a guy that can come in there and just put you in a position to not lose the game. We don't need you to throw for 350 and 5 touchdowns. We don't need you to rush for 50 yards and 250 and no turnovers. Nope. When it comes to backups, for me, you already got to account for 1 turnover. It's either going to be a botch snap or they're throwing a pick. Usually it's a pick. Okay, you got to add that in there. If a backup throws a pick, it's okay. There's a reason why they're a backup. Okay. On top of that, who are they playing behind? Okay, so Cooper Rush is playing behind Lamar Jackson. That entire offense revolves around Lamar Jackson's ability to maneuver and to do what he does, be Lamar Jackson. So, kind of you're seeing it. He's not able to do what Lamar does, not even close to that, which is why, what's his name? Tyler Huntley had more success as a backup than Cooper Rush because he was able to scramble. So the offense didn't have to change much. But looking at both teams, I saw clear cut that the Chiefs are not going to be a team that is just going to lose a bunch of games, especially at home. The Chiefs have the perfect opportunity to go on a little run here, get Rashee Rice back, which he's about to come back, get their number 1 guy back. Okay. Give that offensive line a little bit of a break. Okay, give the defense, when Rashee Rice comes back, that's going to change everything. Hollywood Brown's playing really well right now. Xavier Worthy, he's back. He's healthy. Travis Kelce is doing his job. Okay, who they got on the other side? Noah Gray. They got guys. And these guys are true Kansas City Chiefs. These aren't guys where it's like, we just add a bunch of puzzle pieces here and it should work out. So why the hell would I pick the Chiefs to lose at home when they need to win? They're in a must-win situation in Detroit. I think they're coming off a bye, if I'm not mistaken. I think, they didn't play week 5, did they?
I don't
know. Yeah, I would say you might want to fact check me. If not, either way, either they had a long week, either a mini bye or they had a bye. I can't remember, but either way, they came off a win, and then they're going to go to Arrowhead. I'm like, what?
Well, they did. The Lions. You said the Lions were coming off a mini bye.
Who did the Lions play last week?
Not the Lions. The Lions beat the Bengals 37-24.
That's what it was. So they had pretty much So they had pretty much an easy game, a gimme game. That's what I meant. I was like, I knew it was something weird with the Lions. Where I'm like, I'm not going to pay attention to their week 5 matchup.
Basically a bye with the Bengals.
Exactly, and they crushed it. So I was like, I knew it was something. I was like, the Lions definitely did not come off a tough week. So, then they go into Arrowhead, and then are we going to look at the Chiefs lose another game, back-to-back games, and they just got their first legit win against a Ravens team that they're not legit right now. The Chiefs are not that bad. I'm definitely taking the Chiefs to win this game. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. I definitely lost some money betting-wise because I did bet some money on Detroit. Guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown to get some yards and to score, and, of course, Dave Montgomery lost me. Let's just say we're not going to talk about that bet, but it would have changed a lot for your boy. But yeah, the Chiefs. Go ahead.
I have to interject real quickly because you mentioned David Montgomery, and shout out to Gray Wolf, who's always tuning in. We appreciate Gray Wolf. It says, "What's going on, peeps?" But as it relates to David Montgomery, Gray Wolf asks, "Montgomery's TDs to Goff. Your take?"
Wait, what?
I don't know. I was kind of confused on that as well. Montgomery's TDs to Goff.
The Goff touchdown got taken back, and Montgomery's touchdown also got taken back. The only people that scored for the Detroit Lions was Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams. That's it.
Correct.
That's the only two. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. I think he's talking about the plays that got called back because Goff scored.
Well,
but then they took it back.
He also might be referencing, because if I recall correctly, when David Montgomery returned to his hometown of Cincinnati the week prior, I'm pretty sure he threw a touchdown.
Threw a pat, yeah.
I don't know if it was to Goff, but anyways, Gray Wolf, help us out and clarify that.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd highlight it since you mentioned Montgomery. I didn't mean to interrupt your whole thought process.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I was just like, I just, again, Baltimore, Kansas City right now, I look at Kansas City, I'm like, I know you'll figure it out. Baltimore, I'm not sure what the fuck you got going on. So that was a matchup that after losing to the Jags, I'm like, they're not losing this game at home, man. They're just not. They're not. They're going to have a solid game. I think it's going to be a close game. I thought it was going to be high scoring, which I guess in a sense it kind of was. I think the over still hit, if I'm not mistaken. It was 51.5. I'm not sure what the total was, but yeah, they played well, and I think that we're in trouble. Not we're as in the Eagles because we already played them and beat them. Rashee Rice comes back, you guys are going to see this Kansas City Chiefs team string along a lot of wins. I mean, I think in the next 7 weeks, 7 games they play, they maybe lose 2.
Well, the follow-up question that I thought of as you said that is, and I'm thinking about this with the context of, like, obviously I picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl this year. Without Joe Burrow, that looks absolutely blasphemous. Everyone told me it was blasphemous even when Joe Burrow was healthy, given the Bengals defense. But Kaz, the follow-up question that I have, given the fact that the Ravens just aren't what many of us expected them to be this year, and you're one of many people who had the Ravens at least playing in the Super Bowl. And so given the fact that the Ravens don't seem like they're going to be meeting those expectations this year, would you say that the Chiefs are back to being the favorites in the AFC?
That's a very good question. No, it's the Buffalo Bills, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Even with the back-to-back losses.
Yep, 100%.
Why is that?
Because the Ravens are just, unfortunately, they lost too many games. Unfortunately, too soon. That's a hard hill to climb when, one, you look at the AFC East. Okay, who do you got? You got Buffalo, you got Miami, you got New England. That's a tricky one right there. That's a tricky one. And then who's the other one in the Jets? So we can already look at between the Jets and Miami. You can, and because New England already has one on the Bills. They beat them. They're probably going to sweep those teams. I cannot say that the Ravens are going to for sure sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers. I cannot say that. Another thing is I cannot say that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat the Chargers in their second appearance. They lost the first one. I also don't know what the status of Denver is going to be in a few weeks. I believe in Denver. So I think that the Buffalo Bills have a much easier hill to climb than the Kansas City Chiefs. The only way that the Buffalo Bills don't become the team that's favored to make it to the Super Bowl is if they continue this trajectory that they're on. Now, I will say this to defend Buffalo a little bit, okay? Number one, division games are tough, and Drake May is playing out of his mind right now. So them losing to New England, okay. I mean, name a team right now that's really good that doesn't lose to one of their division rivals. It's a very common thing. Rarely do you see a division rival or a team that's really good just sweep an entire division. It doesn't happen at all, actually. Okay.
Yeah, that's how the 49ers were able to beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football, as undermanned as they were last week.
Yeah. It should. That's just the NFL. If you know anything about football in the NFL, you know that that's just a thing. You can never account for a juggernaut to just sweep the division, even if they're dog shit. Like the NFC West in recent years, it's been the 49ers, and it's like, okay, yeah, LA, you got the fraudulent fucking Arizona Cardinals just because they thought Kyler Murray was going to be a guy. He's not. And they got Seattle that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? Well, now they do, but at the time they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Yeah. So no, not at all. But when I look at the AFC, I think the Bills have a much easier hill to climb. It's going to come down to the playoffs. I think the Chiefs will squeak in, get a wild card spot. I think the Bills will be the favors coming out, getting that first round bye and getting those home games in the divisional round and the AFC Championship game. I think that they are the team to be, and I don't foresee them slowing down. The only other team that I could see stepping in the way, and this is a very hot take, is the New England Patriots. I've seen enough. Oh yeah, I've seen enough, without a doubt. With those guys, I don't know what they got going on in New England right now. They're hooping. They're hooping, man, and they're hooping in a way that's like almost under the radar. Nobody's really talking about it. Everybody's like, okay, well, Drake May's playing well. Are you playing well? No. You got to watch the game. This is why I can't just do stats. Look at this motherfucker play. He is fucking balling. Half you guys can't even name his receivers. Yeah, Diggs is there. All right. Half you guys probably can't name his tight end.
Hunter Henry.
You know what I'm saying? But, like most of you guys can't.
Yeah.
You got Trevion Henderson there. They're still not even using them. And he was supposed to be
Oh my God, so frustrating. So frustrating.
He's supposed to be the premier back. You got Ramondre old ass Stevenson, who I actually like. But I'm just talking shit because I have Trevion too, so I'm pissed. But you got Ramondre Stevenson
and Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, who I think that he got hurt for the season, I believe, right? Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah. So they're doing it with what? They just beat Buffalo. I'm not sleeping on New England. So honestly, out of all the teams in the AFC right now, I would say I'm still going to go with the Bills for right now. I'm not going to put the Chiefs ahead of them. I need to see more of the Chiefs. Kudos to them for getting a good win at home, but I'm going Buffalo. Then I'm going to mix in Kansas City. Can't count them out. New England until I don't see it. Kansas City because I know. New England until I don't see it. And then I'd probably sprinkle in. I'm not saying the Colts. I'm sorry. That's a fluke. I'm not.
That was the team I was waiting to hear. They got the best record in the AFC. They're 5-1.
No, I'm not believing that shit, bro. I'm not.
Indiana
I'm sorry.
Jones.
I'm not believing that shit. That I need to see week. I want to see week 12. Okay, I'm not doing this. No, I'm sorry. And this is me hating. I'm hating. No,
that's all right.
No. I need to see more. Yes, I do. So Indiana, the best team in the AFC right now, pretty much. I like Jacksonville over them as a formidable opponent. I really do. I think Jacksonville right now, they have some weapons, and Trevor is actually impressing me. And I hate Trevor Lawrence. I don't hate him because of who he is. I hate him because of the hype around him and how we've held on for so long with Trevor Lawrence. Like, oh, give him time, give him time. When he came in, they did all the moves. They got him guys. They spent $1 billion on Christian Kirk, and they had they went and got Evan Ingram in his prime, one of the fastest tight ends to play in the NFL in recent years.
Calvin Ridley.
They had Calvin Ridley. They had Travis Etienne. You know what I'm saying? Tank Bigsby. It's like, bro, what more do you fucking need? You know what I'm saying? So I think Trevor's had his opportunities to prove it to me, and he's failed. But this year, he's not playing bad. So sorry for taking too long on this segment, but I do think that Kansas City is going to bounce back. But right now, it's going to be Buffalo, man. It's Buffalo until I see someone put a true stop to Josh Allen's ability to take over games. Again, two-game losing streak. That's fine. It is what it is. Happens to good teams all the time. We'll see.
Well, it looks like Grey Wolf is also a big believer in the New England Patriots, as he says Drake May is looking like Tom Brady, the second coming. I don't know if I'd go that far, but Drake May has looked quite good. And also something I don't think I heard you mention his name. A big factor in the Patriots' success this year to their 4-2 start is Mike Vrabel. Like, we're going to talk about Titans. And later on, we're going to talk about the Titans firing their head coach, Brian Callahan, who they replaced Mike Vrabel with. And now, just over a season into his time at the helm of Tennessee, he's gone. Mike Vrabel went back home, and now he is leading the Patriots back to prominence. And so that's definitely a major factor in this. I would love to play the Colts are the best team game, but yeah, I don't think I can necessarily believe in them either until it gets to later in the season. Like, I just need a bigger sample size. Like, 6 games is a solid sample size, but we're also not even halfway through the season yet. Once solid. We get later on, that's when I could start to believe in them. You mentioned the 2 teams at the top of the AFC East when it comes to AFC favorites. Obviously, Kansas City is always going to be there. Like, as a 49ers fan who's watched my team lose to them twice in the Super Bowl, they're always going to scare the shit out of me. I'm never going to underestimate them. Going into the Super Bowl in 2024 last year, I kept saying, like, even as the Chiefs were looking like kind of mid throughout the regular season, I remember Toddy and I had a segment where we were talking about, like, teams that could get in the 49ers' way that season of winning a Super Bowl. Coming out of the AFC, and it was the Ravens and the Chiefs who I mentioned. And Todd even said to me, he was like, I'm not worried about the Chiefs anymore. I am always worried about the Chiefs. And Sunday night was a prime example of that. And Kaz, I saw your reaction. Obviously, what happened like 3 months later when the 49ers lost to the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl was reason to be concerned. But, we all live and learn. So the Chiefs will always concern me. Jacksonville, since you mentioned them, I just have to say, last week, Kevin was kind of pressing me about Trevor Lawrence and the fact that I said Trevor Lawrence is a bust. And I stand by that take 10 toes down, because given the expectations, as I talked about from that factor cap segment, he has been a disappointment and a bust to this point, given the sky high expectations that he came into the league with. But context matters. I do think the revolving door of head coaches and offensive coordinators for Trevor Lawrence has definitely been a factor. I mean, you start out with Urban Meyer, who's kicking players, and then you go to Dougie P, who is a Super Bowl champion, but ultimately he wasn't able to elevate Trevor Lawrence as much as they had hoped that he would. And now we see Cohen out there. He's getting the job done. So I think that he deserves a lot of credit there too, even though Robert Saleh would beat the shit out of him. Yeah. Duval, exactly. Yeah. But Liam Cohen, he deserves some praise. Like I said, even though Bob Saleh would beat the shit out of him. But the Jags, they look like solid contenders. And finally, I will say, just looking at the AFC North coming into this season, one could argue that the AFC North was one of the stronger divisions in football. And right now it's looking like the worst, which is crazy to say. But you look at the AFC North, you have Pittsburgh up top at 4-1. Then you got Cincinnati at 2-4, Baltimore and Cleveland both at 1-5. And so you can scratch off those bottom three teams at this point. I mean, there's still plenty of seasons left, but I think we can both agree that we'll scratch off those three teams as contenders or even being considered a favorite in the AFC. But Pittsburgh, I like to hate on Pittsburgh because of Gary and all the Steelers fans that I know, my good friend Keith Joganatis, but Pittsburgh's looking nice right now. And whether or not like the hourglass will run out on Aaron Rodgers and then he will turn into a 40-plus-year-old quarterback, that's to be seen. But Pittsburgh also shouldn't be overlooked at this point because everyone knows about TJ Watt. But I think that the addition of Jalen Ramsey was very underrated. And that he probably had my favorite quote from this past week where he said, "I'm going to tell my grandkids that I played in a game with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and I had the most sacks with 2." Like that's definitely something to take with him.
Something that's not, you made a good point there. Something that's not talked about is the fact that the addition of Jalen Ramsey, you now have a Super Bowl champion and you have a prolific leader mixed with TJ Watt. So that secondary and that defensive line, that entire defense is being directed correctly. These are by guys who know how to win games and that have played at the most elite level given their position. That's not a joke. That's something that when they're there, they're not there for a paycheck. They're there to win. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the opposite of what's happened in Cleveland, where it's like, Myles Garrett gets signed and, they got like Denzel Ward, and, they have the Cleveland defense is good. They have a good defense, but the problem is they're never in a position to win games. So they can only do so much as that defense to really, to light a spark. The spark from Jalen Ramsey and a TJ Watt on the Steelers defense is going to put that offense, who also has guys who love to win, know how to win, have won, aka Aaron Rodgers. He has a Super Bowl, and he also is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. You got DK Metcalf, who may not be one of the best wide receivers of all time, not even close to that, but he's definitely a guy who you can't ignore him, and you have Mike Tomlin. So they have a bunch of winners in that locker room on offense and defense. That's huge. And they already the main one is Tomlin. They all came there and have a winning coach. So a bunch of winners, guys who have proven themselves to be some of the best, if not the best at their position at a given time, now went to a coach who never loses. What do people expect? I'm saying people, I'm guilty of it. I didn't think they were going to be, leading their division. Now, mind you, if Lamar wasn't hurt, it'd probably be a lot closer. I think that the Ravens still lose a few games, but they're not going to be 1-5. But I did not foresee Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf having the connection that they've had. DK looks awesome. DK seems happy. And we better be kind of glad that, well, not we, but whoever's in the AFC, better be glad that they got rid of George Pickens, who's also playing amazing right now. He's like number 3 in reception, 3rd in the league, 3rd or 4th, I think, in receptions, in receiving yards this year. Not enough ball to go around, obviously, but I think that if he was still there in Pittsburgh and his head's on straight, they might be 6-0. So, yeah, Pittsburgh is definitely a force. And, you're mentioning how the NFC or the AFC North is, looking like the weaker division, which it is. Call it what it is. The AFC South is actually kind of looking like one of the stronger divisions. And then you got the AFC West. Yeah, you got the AFC West. We don't really know. You can't really put a finger on the Chargers yet because they've had some questionable losses. The Raiders are the Raiders.
Almost another in Miami.
Yeah. The Raiders are the Raiders. The Broncos, it's like respect them, but it's like, are they really a Super Bowl contender right now? We don't really know. And then you have the Chiefs. And that leaves what? The AFC, East? And then we already talked about them. So again, when it comes down to that, to the AFC, ultimately, I'm just looking at the team, aka the Buffalo Bills, that I feel games on the line. This is a must win. It has to happen. Am I picking Aaron Rodgers? Am I picking Daniel Jones? Am I picking what's his name? Trevor Lawrence? Am I picking Patrick Mahomes? Am I picking Josh Allen? Right now, I'm picking Josh. I just am.
Yeah, that's fair because I mean he is the reigning, defending, undisputed MVP after all, and that does mean something. As